görüntüyü kapatsana seninkinin. Nazlı. Nazlı hocam.
Ses yarım yarım geliyor.
Alo. Tamam.
Oh my god, that's so cute. That's so sweet. That's what I want to have in life. That's I can see. I can say. That's so cute. Really? Really? That's so sweet. Taking your wife on a trip? Wow. Yeah. Huh? Okay. Yep. I think we're gonna. No, let's do it together. Uh, we're gonna take the gavel and we're gonna say, we now commence the wait, is it? Yeah, we now announce the commencement of. Wait, I said fourth. So you meant the fourth annual session of EKIN JMUN. EKIN. Yeah, simple. So, are you fine with names? With everyone's names? Yeah, you were anxious. You were anxious about that. Yeah, sorry. You'll get used to it.
Good morning, everyone.
It's fine.
Good morning, everyone. Apparently, you can see from the stage that we have a kind of technical problem in one of the live committees. One of the students has stepped on the wire, so the wire has gone dead. Sorry for this. We were trying to fix it, but I think that they're going to use our YouTube live channel. We'll start in a minute.
What is your pleasure? The hardest chapter since lifetime was not just something easier. Okay, what's your question?
So, good morning again. Before we start, please accept my apologies for my voice. My voice has gone dead for the last 48 hours, and this is the best I can get from my voice. As I told you before we start with the opening ceremony, I have a few remindings to tell you. So it's, first of all, my biggest pleasure, my personal biggest pleasure to welcoming you, everybody, for the 4th annual EKIN JMUN conference. The second thing will be some security information. As you might see, there are two emergency exits on your left and right. For the light of committees inside the main building, so sorry. If you leave the room, you will see an emergency exit to your lefts. So in case of any emergency, please leave the rooms slowly and move forward to the emergency exits. About the lunch breaks, we will have lunch breaks in 2 different intervals. The lunch breaks will be serving Security Council, WHO, ILO, UNEP, and FAO at 1 o'clock. The second group for lunch break to be entertained will be SOCOM, DISEC, SPECBOL, and ECOSOC. So I'm repeating it again for the lunch breaks. 1 o'clock will be served for Security Council, WHO, ILO, UNEP, and FAO. The second group will be SOCOM, DISEC, SPECBOL, and ECOSOC. That's for the lunch breaks. For this one, the committee presidents will remind you of the timing for the lunch breaks. And one more thing, which most of you might be well aware of, natural disasters are kind of inevitable part of our lives. You might have heard about Australia bushfire and the wildfires which have been continuing in Australia for the last few weeks. Many millions of animals have died in this disaster. Many people have lost their lives. So as EKIN JMUN executive team, we would like to invite you for 1 minute of silence for the wish for this fire to be stopped. Thank you very much. Attention for 1 minute of silence for the Australian bushfire to settle down. Thank you. We hope that this silence will give a big help for those people, for those animals, to get back their lives back as soon as possible. That's all for now from me. Thank you again, and welcome again to 4th EKIN Junior Model United Nations Conference 2020. I'm going to yield the floor to Yayını, the Deputy Secretary General, for the opening ceremony.
Thank you, Mr. Agdam. Honorable founders, esteemed guests and advisors, student officers, members of the Executive Board and fellow delegates. Welcome to the 4th Annual EKIN JMUN Conference 2020. This year's conference will be hosting a total number of over 500 participants coming from 40 schools across various parts of the country. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to the participating schools, their respective advisors, and all the delegates attending the conference for their contributions and continued support. It is also our utmost pleasure to announce EKIN JMUN's exclusive engagement in a mutual partnership with the Lebanese American University Global Classrooms International Model United Nations Conference. We thank the distinguished members of LAUGCI who are currently with us in this very room for their humble considerations and collaboration. It is our strong hope that this partnership will deliver the best results for both parties, adding the conference a brand new dimension and authenticity. Professor Elise Samia from LAUGCI Model United Nations has a 30-year experience in university teaching at the Lebanese American University in the academic fields of political science, sociology, and cultural studies. He is now the Assistant Vice President for Outreach and Civic Engagement and is responsible of a plethora of student leadership and civic engagement programs. He is the Program Director of Global Classrooms LAU Model United Nations since 2005, of the Model Arabic League program since 2011, Model European Union since 2016, Model African Union since 2019, and of the USAID University Scholarship Program since 2010. Professor Samia has given more than 550 workshops to a wide audience ranging from youth associations to corporate employees in Lebanon and abroad about educational leadership, negotiations, creative business development, building motivation, civic engagement, and project management. He'll be holding an advisory workshop to MUN or not to MUN. This is the question tomorrow. Our advisors' participation are highly appreciated and recommended, so please check your schedules, our dear advisors, for Saturday. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Samia to the stage to deliver a speech about 4 secrets of youth leadership.
First of all, let me express my respect, admiration, and cordiality for your gracious hospitality. You are a wonderful cohort of warm hosts. Thank you, founder of the school. Thank you, Akbar. Thank you very much. Thank you, executive members of the EKIN Junior Model United Nations. Thank you, Troy, for having canvassed this partnership. And I feel that I belong to a family. How did you succeed into projecting this warmth? I don't know. But personally, my university, the programs I represent, we want to extend our hearts and minds to embrace you. So I would like to add to your slogan, and you have a wonderful slogan. If I take this one, I cannot dissociate it because I like to move around. Can I? I like to be more mobile. Thank you. So, the first thing that attracted my attention is not only the beautiful logo, which I find it embracing diversity. It reminds me that the whole world is our family. It is a fantastic slogan. Imagine, innovate, and inspire. So my first offer, in return to your gracious hospitality, I would like to stay here and add internationalize. The Lebanese American University, partner of the United Nations Association of the United States of America, starting a fantastic program called Global Classrooms International, being held in New York headquarters, in the General Assembly and the Grand Hyatt Hotel for the last 20 years. We're celebrating the 20th year. They have already invited 60,000 students and advisors coming from more than 30 capitals from throughout the world. And every year, we held 2 international conferences. One is called Global Classrooms International Middle School Conference, like your conference, and the other is called Global Classrooms International High School Conference. So the MOU, the partnership, can have and follow 2 paths. The first path is unimaginative, and your slogan is inviting for imagination. So, honoring your slogan of one is to imagine, innovate, and inspire. Our partnership with EKIN, Junior Model United Nations, is going to extend beyond imagination and move from theory into practice. So, my first offer, my first practical offer, is to shake hands with you, administrators, executive members, decision makers, agenda setters, participating schools, and say, let us move together to internationalize the fantastic, the warm, the very fabulously empathetic EKIN Junior Model United Nations. I can imagine people coming from more than 30 capitals from throughout the world. It might be also from the vicinity, Asia, Europe, Central Europe, MENA region, Middle East and North Africa, who really love Turkey, who love the modernity and the tradition and the authenticity and the dignity and the fantastic educational opportunities of Turkey, and they would love to come to Turkey. So, yes, the Lebanese American University Global Classrooms International Model United Nations is sincere, and it's going to put all its strategy and vision and systems and structures and style and staff at the disposal of your school. Why? Because we share the same value. What are the values of any Model United Nations? Young delegates. My generation, the generation of people before me and also after me, but not the modern generation, not your generation, they used to believe that the whole world gravitated around one single value, one single objective. And that objective was called what? It was called STEM. People have to be good in science, in technology, in engineering, and in math. Fantastic. Yes, people have to have logos, and they have to have meaningful relations among distant variables. Logic, intelligence, mathematical calculation, computation, data analytics, artificial intelligence, it's all about innovation, and it's are highly needed values. But then we realized that we're losing the human interaction. We're losing the human communication. We're building barriers instead of bridges. And then we realize that science, like Mahatma Gandhi said, science without morality is one of the greatest sin. Like Racine, the French philosopher, said, and I'm quoting him in French, Une âme, science sans conscience est une âme en ruine. Science without conscience is a ruined spirit. It's a ruined state of mind. So we have seen science and technology used for the destruction of humanity instead of for human understanding and communication and peace building and development. Do you know of any incidents where science and technology were used for the destruction of two beautiful cities in Japan? You can have the atomic bombs, no? Thrown over Nagasaki and Hiroshima. What a dramatic way to end the war. I'm sure it had its political rationale, but definitely science for the destruction is not what we are aiming for. So STEM is not enough. Science, technology, engineering, and math without a heart and the spirit are not enough. So the educators, like the school advisors, like us working in education, they thought that we have to add the letter A to STEM and it becomes better. Can you guess? If we add one letter to STEM, what does it become? You're completely right. So it becomes what? Instead of STEM, it becomes what? STEAM. Fantastic, delegates, right? So it's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And then we realized arts for art's sake is not only enough. Why? Because many people who have science and technology and they are full of oratorical prowess and they use charismatic slogans and they brandish theories and they ended up being destructive to humanity and they use their charisma in a destructive way. So STEAM was not enough. Do you know what your generation is all for? What should be the value of your generation? It's neither STEM nor STEAM. It's a new dimension springing from your beautiful slogan of imagine, innovate, and inspire. And I find when educational institutions or companies or corporations, when they put a slogan, they have to be up to it. They cannot be schizophrenic about it. Because the penchant to enunciate theories that pay only lip service to reality is infuriating. We have to move from theory to action, like what Goethe said. Your generation is not only the generation of STEM or STEAM. Your generation, and I got the inspiration from your slogan, is all about SMAC, S-M-A-C. Would you like to guess with me what S means here? Not science, fine? Because we already used the science for STEM. So if I have a mathematical equation and I say educational excellence, innovation, inspiration, integration, internationalization, I have to put STEM plus STEAM plus the new slogan, the new value. S stands for what? For? Excuse me? No. S stands for? Yes. You're beautiful. I like beautiful minds. Okay? EKIN is culture and crop. I like this. Can you be a wonderful genius, but you are isolated, fine? And you are suffering from what? You're always behind your screen. You're taken by your games or by Googling things, but you are not communicating. You are not extending bridges of human understanding. You're not building the bridges. You might believe that the power of argument, you have to believe that the power of argument is much better than the argument of power. So S is social. What is social? This is a social gathering. This is the compulsion of proximity. This is the warmth. Charisma means presence and warmth. Communicating, looking eye to eye, seeing through your heart, shaking hands, okay? With pupil dilatation. So S is social. S is interaction. S is meeting together, is cordiality, is empathy. Yes, S is observing a 1 minute of silence for the Australian fire, or to celebrate the United Nations days. More than 1 billion people live below $1.25 per day, below the line of poverty. So social, it means interacting, meeting people, brainstorming, and creating ideas, and respecting diversity. Social, it means I'm not chauvinistic. I love you as my sister or brother in humanity. I don't have gender discrimination. I don't have racial discrimination. I don't have religious discrimination. I don't have linguistic discrimination. I am above and beyond the accident of birth. This is S. Would you agree with me that meeting here outside of the classroom, meeting friends from other schools is an enjoyable exercise? Fine? It should be an enjoyable exercise, isn't it? Okay. M is what? You're completely right. Who said mobile? Yes. Can we remain only in one country or in one place? Okay? Already we're traveling through our imagination. Already we're surfing the internet. Already we're building friendships. So mobility is very important, and not only physical mobility, it's psychological mobility. It's mental flexibility. So S is social, M is mobile. A reminds me of the new generation of STEM, because your generation is a generation of analytics, right? You have to move on to artificial intelligence and automation, but even if automated jobs take most of the job, they would not be able to take the jobs of decision makers, agenda setters, communicators, diplomats, people who are making the world a better place to live at. And C is the cloud, but the cloud here is not only to use the internet or to Google or to enter into gaming. So I would like you, and I would like to take your opinion, because I was discussing with the Co-Secretary General of the 4th EKIN Junior Model United Nations, Nabil Faris, who's going to give now also his speech. I was discussing with him, when we say imagine, I would like to seek your advice or to take your feedback. Would you imagine another type of sensational simulation model whereby we are simulating Harry Potter? We're simulating what? The Games of Thrones? We're simulating the fabulous, imaginative, and real science fiction or idols that we have? Can you imagine the depth of it, the fun of it, the drama of it, the poetry of it? So imagination is getting away from the cliches. Model United Nations would like to resemble each other. I would like to have a Model United Nations and bring in Mustafa Kemal Atatürk on the table, and for him to have a discussion with the incumbent president of Turkey. And then I would like to bring in Hammurabi, and I would like to bring James I with the Magna Carta, and Cromwell, who made the parliament more democratic. I would like to bring in charismatic leaders like Winston Churchill, like Barack Obama, like whoever would you consider as charismatic as well. I would like to simulate the American elections. I would like to simulate the European Council and elections. I would like to imagine more sensational simulation models where poetry, where arts, where imagination, where emotions, where inspirations would come into play. Young delegates, we're here to shake hands, to open our hearts, and to say, for the world to become a better place to live at, for Vasudeva Shurumbakam, for the whole world to become my family, we have to be experts in creative negotiations, mediation, arbitration, adjudication, deployment of good officers, but most importantly, we have to be not only human, we have to be humane. We have to have morality. And to give you an equation that might create a memory print, I say a fantastic model United Nations, brilliant model, would have 4 P's. 1 is passion, and the passion I've observed in your school is unmatched. 2, playfulness. Do not let adults take you too seriously or take themselves too seriously. We have to be able to transform education into fun, into a game, into human interaction. And it needs also patience and perseverance. So these are the 4 P's. And of course, we have to set a smart objective of making peace step by step, right? of having specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound objectives. And most importantly, any model United Nations has to be based on 4 intelligences, and I'm sure you have the 4 intelligences. One is the mental intelligence, good preparation. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail, and we have to have deep knowledge of the subject matter. This is called cognitive preparation. This is intellectual density. This is doing your job. Another question for you. Do you know what Malcolm Gladwell, who wrote a fantastic books, but one of the books is called Outlier. You know how many hours of training do we need to become an expert in a certain field of science or technology or simulation? Do you have any idea how many hours to become a good piano player or tennis player or a hockey player, right? Or an NBA basketball player or an MUNer and a veteran? Can you give me a guess how many hours of training? 10,000. How many? 10,000. So we need 10,000 hours of practice, and this is mental intelligence, this is hard work, this is extraordinary work ethics. The second intelligence is emotional intelligence. If I am a very profound and dense, and I'm a walking encyclopedia, and I have all the knowledge of the world, but I don't have love and human compassion, I'm not a good MUNer, I'm not a good diplomat, I'm not a good citizen, I'm not a good decision maker or agenda setter, or I do not understand the diversity of human interaction. Understanding your emotions, understanding other people's emotions, and dealing with them with wisdom and cordiality. This is emotional intelligence. The third intelligence is spiritual intelligence. Worship any god. Do not worship or worship. I do not really care. I would like you to have the highest level of integrity and ethics and honesty. And here, in a book that I have written, I said character is doing what's right, spiritual intelligence. And the fourth intelligence that I'm sure I'm calling for you to have is what Model United Nations encourage. To conquer stage fright, to acquire the confidence of verbal, paraverbal, and nonverbal communication. What we say is 7%, the way our voice, our eye contact, the timbre, the rhythm, the intonation is 38%, and the body language is 55%, so the physical intelligence. So I leave you with 4 memory prints. The first memory print, you are the generation of SMAC, social, mobile, analytical, and what they see, cloud. I leave you 2 with a second memory print. Always have passion. Blessed is the person whose job is her or his hobby, for they shall never work in their lives. They'll find that work as an exercise of enjoyment. Passion, perseverance, playfulness, and of course, always move on to SMART, specific objectives, and then measurable objective. This year I have 500 students, next year I will have 550 students. This year I got this grade, next year I will work harder to get a higher grade. So always have SMART objectives and be endowed with 4 intelligences, because it is like a car moving on 4 wheels. Any wheel which does not really encounters a problem, you will have a puncture. Mental alone is not enough. IQ alone is not enough. You have to have IQ and EQ and SQ and PQ. So what I'm saying is mental intelligence, emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and physical intelligence. And then you will start to become a candidate for truth, and you'll start to become the decision makers and the productive employer or employee of tomorrow's better world. Thank you very much.
We thank Professor Samia for his insightful and passionate speech. Again, it's truly an honor to have you here. Now we'll proceed with our speakers. Most of you might know and remember Mr. Troy Guy Wolf, who has now been with us for 2 consecutive years. Mr. Wolf is the Senior Director of UNA Education Programs and Learning at the United Nations Foundation, United States of America. His service in the United Nations Association spans for 7 years and includes the management of government relations, K-12 programming, university partnerships, and a variety of philanthropic initiatives. Mr. Wolf has extensive knowledge of international development and has completed volunteer assignments with the United States Peace Corps in Suriname, South America, and through Operation Crossroads Africa when he served in Lesotho. We in EKIN JMUN admire his diligent dedication to educating interested individuals in UN goals and targets, and want to express our heartfelt appreciation for his contributions to the conference over the past 2 years for EKIN Junior Model United Nations. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Wolf to the stage to deliver his speech and share his feelings.
Good morning, everyone. Let's do this again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And everyone also includes those in the room. Can we get a wave from our colleagues in the room, the delegates in the room? Can you see us? They're sleeping? Delegates in the room, can you see us? Can you wave? Everybody's not waving. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Good, good. So, hello, hello, hello. EKIN J Model UN. And thank you again for inviting me to be here with you again for another year to celebrate your Model UN program and for participating in this fantastic event, which is taking place at a pivotal time for our planet. We come together today to engage in a simulation of the United Nations. Since its ratification on October 24th, 1945, the United Nations system has protected and progressed our world. It is the largest global body where nations come together to create better ways to solve problems, better ways to share our planet, and better ways to build a more sustainable future. Now, more than ever, do we need those better ways to solve global problems. And through Model UN, we seek an opportunity for you to develop the necessary skills to create a better global future. This conference comes at a special time for me, as together with your school administration, Professors Akbar Agdam, Professors Iram Dancer, the Secretariat, our friends from Lebanese American University, and advisors, we seek a common goal of building high-quality educational experiences through what we know as Model United Nations. Beyond the simulation, however, and in the halls of the United Nations itself in New York City, we too are having conversations about better ways to solve global problems. As such, the Secretary General himself, just last week, announced his plan to engage the world in a global conversation. Referred to at the UN as the UN 75th, plans are underway to engage the world in a dialogue that includes the voices of youth, marginalized communities, and those who know little to nothing about the inner workings of the United Nations. We invite you and your teachers to explore these online resources and to determine what is appropriate for you and your students. That said, as participants as Model UN, you are developing lifelong skills that will help you in your academic, social, and professional careers, as my colleague, Professor Samia, just alluded. We challenge you to perfect these skills and to establish conversations of your own that seek compromise as solutions to the world's most daunting questions. We challenge you to continue to grow intellectually and to apply your knowledge to address such issues as eradicating extreme poverty, SDG goal number 1, creating quality education for all, SDG goal number 4, figuring out ways to sustain our cities, SDG goal number 11, or helping to combat the ravages of climate change through climate action, SDG goal number 13, and by using all the global goals to do good for the world. Like in the real world, we challenge you to form partnerships, goal number 17, during your simulation. For it is only through a truly collaborative agenda that we will achieve the global goals of 2030. In closing, I leave you with a quote to think about that may resonate with you today as you move about the simulation and seek better ways to save our planet. It's a quote by Gandhi. Keep your thoughts positive because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive because your behavior becomes your habits. Keep your habits positive because your habits become your values. Keep your values positive because your values will become your destiny. My friends, go forward today, have fun, and make sure that you give it all you've got. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Mr. Wolf, can you please remain in the stage to receive your honorary plaques? And Professor Samia, can we also have you in the stage, on the stage? Now I'd like to invite our school founder and general manager Yasemin Erişitoğlu to the stage to share her feelings and present EKIN JMUN's honorary plaques to Professor Samia and Mr. Wolf.
Ben bunu her sene söylüyorum, söylemekten de bıkmayacağım. Söyleneni %70 düzeyinde ancak anlayabiliyorum. Çok acı bir şey, üniversite mezunuyum. Ama yüksek lisans mezunuyum hatta. İngilizcem bu kadar. Çok kötü bir şey eğitim adına, ülkemiz adına. Çok önemli bir işin içindesiniz. Çok önemli bir organizasyonla berabersiniz. Hayatınızın ilerleyen aşamasında çok işinize yarayacak. Ve ne mutlu ki böyle öğretmenlerle, böyle okullarda olarak bunu elde edebildiniz. Bizim kuşak bu konuda maalesef çok şanslı değildi. Ben sizler adına, ülkemiz adına geldikleri için, bizimle oldukları için çok teşekkür ediyorum. İngilizce söyleyemeyeceğim, üzgünüm.
Great picture with great people. This year's conference will be managed by our two Secretaries General, Nabil Fares. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Yeah, Nabil. Okay, sort of. From LAU GCI and Azra Kaya, an EKIL Schools alumna. Their mutual participations are representing EKIN JMUN's proud partnership with LAU GCI. And I'd like to yield the floor to our Secretaries General to share their feelings and regarding the conference. Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Azra.
If you were here the years before, you might have seen me on the stage. And I'm so proud to be coming up back here once again to deliver this speech as the Secretary General, which has been my dream for so long. So, here it goes. Here I go. Honorable Professor Samia from LAU GCI Network, Honorable Mr. Troy G. Wolf, the Senior Director for the Educational Programs of UNA USA, my counterpart, Nabil Fares, who I've worked with very joyfully, our Director General, Isabel Yazıcı, all academic and organizational teams, delegates, advisors, and guests. It's a big pleasure for me to welcome you all to the 4th annual session of EKIN JMUN Model United Nations. I remember when this conference was a dream, and I got the word for it for the first time when I was an 8th grader here. I'm now an 11th grader, and I was just so excited that we got to do this at our hometown in our own school, and this school is like my home. It was my home for 8 years. I still consider it home, and I still consider everyone here like my moms and dads, because I've seen all of you for 8 years more than my own family. And I'm really, really proud to be here. I just can't even describe it with words. To see how far I have come, to see how far the conference has come, and to see how everyone grew together as a big family with new members joining every year consecutively. It's just amazing to get to witness it at such a young age. First of all, being an EKIN alumni, I just want to talk a little bit about that. 2 amazing speeches were given before me, so I can't top that, and I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but I just want to express my gratitude and how hard everyone has worked. EKIN was where I was introduced to Model United Nations, and it has opened great doors for me, and it's expanded my horizon as a young woman, which I am proud to be standing before you delivering my speech and contributing to this amazing conference in hopes of seeing further young men and women grow from middle schoolers to high schoolers and to universities, and like Professor Samia said in his speech, to negotiators and such on as they grow. I hope it's gonna open, again, amazing doors for you and expand your horizon, because the world today needs people who are aware of it and who are caring about what's going on. And once again, to quote Professor Samia, we need to learn how to be humane, and Model United Nations for me has taught so much about that, and so much to care about the world, to care for the less fortunate, and to care for our environments, and for everything, to learn about history. It's a big part of my personality today, and I have so much to thank for that. And further on with my speech, my counterpart Nabil, it has been amazing to work with you. You've worked so hard, you've been so eager to participate, and I'm very, very grateful that for our partnership this year with the LAU GCI Network, I got to do it with you. Thank you so much for your work, for your participation, and for your guidance and insight. We have 9 committees this year that we will be simulating, and we picked the agenda items regarding the things that we see are the world's very, very current agenda items, and we hope that for the delegates, it's going to be a way for you to research and understand what's going on and generate new ideas. And also, we aligned it with the Sustainable Development Goals, whose deadlines are approaching as the years go by. And we hope that everyone learns more about the Sustainable Development Goals and gets a good insight on that too, for you to find realistic, applicable, and creative solutions to the problems that our world faces today. This world needs creative, young, fresh minds like yours, like mine, and like my friends to work cooperatively and hopefully ensure a brighter future for the next generations to come. And I would like to also thank the friends and family in the academic team that have been with us since the first year, who have firstly participated as delegates, and now they're they're giving their services in the academic teams. They've contributed so much to this conference, and they're a part of this big family. And I'd like to thank them so much for working so hard this year. I'm gonna finish off my speech by wishing everybody luck, and please do not hesitate, our delegates, to approach us and communicate, and make sure that you're in communication to solve any of your problems. We're here for you, we're here to help you, and we're here to make you learn and grow moving on from this conference. As a proud member of our hardworking team, I can genuinely say that we worked day and night to provide you with an unforgettable experience, which we hope will motivate you to expand your knowledge of the globe and humanity. Thank you. And I'm yielding the floor to my counterpart, Nabil Faris.
So, first of all, thank you to Azra for the very warm introduction. And good morning to everyone, and thank you for joining us at the 4th annual EKIN JMUN Model United Nations. It's a pleasure to have you here, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's a beautiful, beautiful city and a beautiful, beautiful school, and I cannot be more thrilled to be here. And so, when I first found out that I'd be getting the opportunity to address you all in this opening ceremony, I started to think of different ways in which I can begin to address you all. But since most of you don't know me, I figured it would be a good order of business to introduce myself to you as first and foremost. And so, hi, my name is Nabil Faris, and I recently graduated from the Lebanese American University with a degree in political science and international affairs. And for the past 6 to 7 years, I've been taking part in a number of conferences in my home country, Lebanon, and abroad. This includes Model United Nations, Model Arab League, Model African Union, and Model European Union. And in addition, I've also been trained at the Lebanese Foreign Ministry's Directorate of International Relations with regard to junior diplomacy. And so, building on this experience, I just want to take a few moments to reflect on the key factors which make a good Model United Nations conference successful. So to me, these are the key components which make a good model great. And so the first of these factors is values. To me, a good Model United Nations conference is one that has its values straight. And when I say values, I speak of leadership, I speak of youth empowerment, I speak of diplomacy, of dialogue, of inclusion, and of so much more. Second of all, the second factor on this list is preparation. And so you would recall that in his speech, Professor Samia uttered a very famous statement which was originally accredited to Benjamin Franklin, which is, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. On the off chance that you end up becoming an LAU GTI staffer in the future, trust me, you would be hearing this sentence a lot more. So preparation, preparation, and then more preparation. And so the final factor on this list, and to me, the most important one, is trust. And so a successful Model United Nations conference is one that hinges on the unequivocal trust and confidence, which is provided to it by its organizing institution, by its secretariat members, and most importantly, by you, the delegates and the participants. And so today, I am very proud and I am very honored to be part of a conference which is organized by two institutions which have their values as straight as an arrow, two institutions which succeed in preparing and thus prepare to succeed, and two institutions which have put so much trust in the respective youth of their communities. And so finally, before I conclude my statement, allow me to leave each one of you with a final message to accompany you throughout the coming days. And so first of all, to the wonderful people at EKIN College, thank you so much for your very warm invitation and your even warmer reception. I think I speak on behalf of Professor Samia, of Mr. Wolf, and myself when I say that we all cannot be happier to be here. Second of all, to the wonderful secretariat, the hardworking secretariat of EKIN Junior Model United Nations, I would just like to thank you for your hard work, and I'm very confident that all of your diligent efforts will be rewarded with a very fantastic conference in the coming days. And third of all, to the esteemed advisors who are present here with us today, I would like to say congratulations. Congratulations on having the vision, the integrity, and the emotional intelligence to enroll your students in such an endeavor. It is one thing to be a leader yourself and to aspire to be a leader yourself, but it's an entirely different and an entirely more honorable thing to push others toward leadership, and that is exactly what you're doing today. So thank you for making the world a better place for your youth. And finally, to the fantastic delegates who will be taking part in this conference with us today, and who will be gracing the halls of EKIN College with their strong presence, their charisma, and their creative ideas, I say to you, stay curious. Because at some internal level, we all initially joined Model United Nations out of curiosity. Now believe me when I tell you that your curiosity can go a long way and can take you to unimaginable places, so stay curious. And to all of you today, I leave you with one final message and one final quote, which says that each dollar spent on diplomacy and dialogue is one less dollar spent on ammunition. So thank you so much. Again, it's an honor.
And now it is time to officially call this conference to order and honor MUN traditions. Can I have the members of the executive board on the desk to do that? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, then we'll proceed then. On the desk?
No, aren't we going to commence the conference? Okay. Wait. Should we do it here?
Yeah, no,
yes, right?
Desk.
Okay. So,
We hereby
commence the 4th annual session of EKIN Junior Model United Nations.
Okay, before we go for the coffee break and the training ceremony, I need to remind you of something else. For those ones who have lost who are probably going to lose their badges, any problem with the certificates and the placards, please find around the staff. They're wearing staff badges with a white strip on. They will directly go to Ege Ekmekçi. Can you come here? Ege, just come over to the stage. Come on. He's been a very dedicated person. He was working with me last night until 11 o'clock. So a grand applause for him. If you find him with any documentation problem, he will handle it in less than 2 hours. Thank you. We started, because of the technical problem, we started about 10 minutes later, but this is not going to change anything for the preceding ceremonies and preceding sessions. Have a wonderful 3 days of the conference.